Youngmisuk, who covers the NBA for ESPN. Yeah, look at those eyebrows.
Got some great brows.
Those are gorgeous.
Got nice brows. And the shirt, are you kidding me, Phil Collins?
Looking fantastic, looking dapper. We appreciate the time. Let's start with this. The Clippers lost their final 2 games of the regular season to the lowly Rockets and Thunder, which some thought may have been them doing that intentionally in order to jockey for a better playoff position. Well, they got the Mavericks, and they find themselves in an 0-2 hole heading back to Dallas. What is the issue with this Clippers team?
The Clippers have not been playing good basketball now for about, I want to say, like a month. And it had nothing to do with tanking those last 2 games. Yes, they found a way to even out-tank Oklahoma City, which was at an all-time historic tank pace. But listen, the Clippers had not been at full strength. They had a lot of injuries. Serge Ibaka didn't even come back until the last few games of the season. They didn't have that continuity, that chemistry, that flow. And they figured, okay, let's just make sure our guys are healthy. We got a week before the playoffs start. We're going to get it all together. But you know what? What you've seen in these first 2 games is that the Clippers are kind of trying to find themselves on the court, and they don't have any margin for error now after dropping the first 2 against a very motivated Dallas team. And this is the other thing that I think maybe the Clippers underestimated. And yes, the Clippers are an organization that likes to look at everything and try to find an advantage. And I think that's also why they tried to go down to 4 and maybe avoid the Lakers, a potential first-round matchup with them. The thing is that they handled Luka Doncic and the Mavericks last year. Now, Doncic did have a great series, but you're playing with fire when you face a superstar like Doncic in another series like this, and he is playing with all-time swagger. We're going to find out what the Clippers are made of in this Game 3, because if we don't, their season, it's going to be over.
Yeah, I like how you're discovering or helping us discover the genesis of what the Clippers' issues is right now, or are. We appreciate that. Kind of expanding on that a little further, do you think they were guilty of... Very good, very good.
It's very slow.
It's your Friday.
I am very slow.
You're a few sangrias deep in your head already. I'll let that one slide over there, Joe. But, yeah, you kind of touched on it. Expand. Did they have a particular route to the NBA Finals they wanted in terms of teams they would see in order? And are they guilty now of the basketball gods kind of showing them their comeuppance of trying to plan out an easy path to an NBA Finals?
Well, the matchup that would have probably been most desirable for the Clippers would have been the Portland Trailblazers. They swept them this season. They managed to actually handle Damian Lillard in 2 games. And listen, that's a tall task to handle Lillard in the playoff series and C.J. McCollum, but at least Portland's bigs would allow the Clippers to have their bigs on the floor, which they are having trouble right now with the Dallas Mavericks. But listen, the way the Clippers are defending right now, they would not be able to defend the Portland Trailblazers and Damian Lillard. Compare last season to this season. They gave up 36% from behind the arc against Dallas. Through 2 games so far this season, they're giving up 50% to the Mavericks. And this is not all Luka. Luka in the 4th quarter actually is only shooting 2 for 12 and has scored a combined 5 points. This is Tim Hardaway. This is Dorian Finney-Smith. These are all the role players that are killing them. And the Clippers have to find that defense, that much vaunted defense, or else, look, their season's going to be over. Look, I'll say this I'll drop a Phil Collins nugget for you here, okay? The Clippers better be listening to In the Air tonight before Game 3 and getting fired up for that game. Otherwise, their season's going to be over.
That's why we have Ohm Youngmisuk on Bet, because he's an easy lover. You get along great with someone like Ohm when he's dropping nuggets like that.
Oh, this is just incredible. The question itself doesn't even matter. I could throw any words out there at the moment. Head coach Doc Rivers, former head coach of the Los Angeles Clippers, he left the organization after they blew that 3-1 series lead to the Nuggets in last year's playoffs. If LA bows out of the first round here, Tyronn Lue, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, what does the future hold for them?
Oh, man, that is the million-dollar question. Kawhi Leonard's free agency is going to come up. And listen, I still think the odds are that Kawhi Leonard would stay because he likes being in Los Angeles. But look, you never know. You can never discount a team like Miami and Pat Riley sneaking in and try to steal Kawhi Leonard. If the Clippers were to lose in embarrassing fashion in the first round, and this is obviously worse than last year when they blew a 3-1 lead in the second round to Denver, I would have to say there could be major changes. We wouldn't know what would happen to Paul George, as Paul George is locked up to a long-term contract, but perhaps the Clippers would look to just change their ways. Management, I'm sure Steve Ballmer would have to take a deep look at management as well. Everything would be on the table for this Clippers team that was supposed to be championship contenders for these past 2 years. And if they don't make it out of the first round, oh boy. Listen, Steve Ballmer, money is not an issue to him. He can do whatever he wants with that team.
Finally, I'm kind of putting dirt on this Clippers team right now, starting to bury them. Clippers fans, though, may think this team is on the way to heaven at plus 220 to win the series. There are some that think they can rise from the ashes and get it done. Take a look at odds for the final of this series. If the Clippers win 4-2, that'd be 4 straight wins, plus 750. If they get to a game 7 and win, you see the odds there. Then what the Mavericks can do with a sweep through getting 2 more wins in either the next any of the next 5 games. How do you see this series ending? Who wins and how many games does it take?
Like my man Phil Collins here, I'm probably going to go against all odds, okay? Look, would it really surprise you if the Clippers really clipped here and did the most Clipperish thing and won Game 3, won Game 4, went back to LA 2-2? It wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me at all. Nothing surprises me with the Clippers except for one thing here. They always choose the most excruciating possible way to finish, okay? It's like a choose-your-own-adventure book, if you remember from back in the day, right? When you get to a certain page, you're like, if you go this way, you turn to page 82. If you go this way, you turn to page 86. The Clippers always choose the path that ends up in the most excruciating pain. I'm going to pick Mavericks in 7. I'm going against all odds like my man Phil Collins.
He covers the NBA for ESPN, and he's got a hell of a home studio setup right there. Ohm Youngmisuk joining us here on Bet. Thanks, Ohm.
Another day in paradise with our buddy Ohm.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.